Let's talk about this story we got here from timcast.com. Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer to retire. The justice and the Biden administration have not yet released a formal statement. Jen Psaki did say, it's the prerogative of the justice to retire when they feel like it. But, that's the story. Stephen Breyer is going to stay until the end of the term, which just is, when is that ending? Is that ending in October?
They usually end the term in June, sometimes
okay.
July, but normally all the decisions are done by the end of June.
Oh, okay, June.
Yeah.
All right. So seems to me that Breyer, who is considered a liberal justice, they're doing this because they think they're going to be losing the midterms.
Yeah, they forced Breyer out. The left had this really unprecedented campaign to pressure to pressure Breyer to retire. I guess there's another campaign to pressure Biden to retire too, but that's another.
That's coming from all sides, to be honest.
And Breyer had some interviews late last year, or he was out, I think, selling a book, or he was being interviewed. And it was pretty clear he had no interest in retiring. And something changed, and they pressured him, and he left. They bullied him off the court. And you can bet the left that bullied a sitting Supreme Court justice off the court is going to demand that Biden appoint an extremist to replace him, not a normal liberal, someone who's extreme.
Well,
and so that's going to be the battle. And technically, the Senate can get someone passed for Biden or confirmed by Biden if they get 50+1 vote, and we'll see what happens.
And Kamala would be the tiebreaker, I'd imagine.
We're going to need term limits.
Unless she's the nominee.
If we're going to save if we're going to cover
but
the
then
public.
Lindsey Graham would vote for her.
Yeah, Lindsey Graham has voted for most of the judges put forward by Biden, at least in committee. Yeah.
Yep.
Like you were saying, how cancel culture can whip up a frenzy so quick now. It's like things can happen so fast that having someone in power for 50 years as a Supreme Court justice is too dangerous. It doesn't make any sense anymore. I think we need term limits. Otherwise, we're going to get a 38-year-old or a 42-year-old that's going to think they're going to be in power for 50 years. And then
I don't know. I thought about this. It's an interesting question that, should we have a time limit for justices or should it be a lifetime appointment? There's pros and cons. Yeah. I do like the idea that, when someone gets appointed, it kind of puts a pin in the cultural perspective and says this person, he's 45, he's going to be a justice and he's going to be there for 40 years. It kind of helps. I think it's a stabilizing force. The detriment, however, is you get someone like, we had that Supreme Court justice who was on his, he was partially comatose or whatever, and he was just like shaking in his bed, and they're like, what do we do? Oh, he's a lifetime appointment. So,
right.
But I don't know. What do you think? You think we should boot him out at a certain age or something? Or
I'm sympathetic to that. I think the chief concern is the quality of the judge and his judicial philosophy. So having a judicial supremacist on the court who wants to steal our liberty and steal our self-governance and govern from the bench, if he's on the court for a year, that doesn't do us any good. If he's on the court for 10 years, it doesn't do any good. But to have someone who defers to the Constitution and applies it as written and originally understood, having them on the court for 30 years is fine. The question is, what is the role of the court in our constitutional system? And it's outsized. We shouldn't be waiting with bated breath about how we're going to govern ourselves on these core issues every June. Mm-hmm. What's the court going to rule? The court is one branch of our government, and I'm against judicial supremacy, and that should be the big fight. And I would expect that finally, at least Republicans who share those views, we can't be approving judges just because the president deserves his justice. No. The people deserve to have their rights protected and not violated by justices who think they know better than elected representatives.